On November 24, 1971, a man named Dan Cooper, later known as D.B. Cooper, boarded a flight from Portland to Seattle, carrying only a briefcase and a calm demeanor. Little did anyone know that this seemingly ordinary man would become one of the most famous figures in aviation history, disappearing without a trace and leaving behind one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. Described as a middle-aged man in a suit, Cooper sat quietly during the flight, sipping bourbon and soda. It wasn't until the plane was halfway between Portland and Seattle that he handed a note to a flight attendant. The note wasn't a love letter as she initially thought, but a demand. Cooper claimed to have a bomb and was hijacking the plane. He requested $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a change in the plane's flight path toward Mexico. With the money in hand, and all passengers safely released in Seattle, he ordered the crew to take off again, this time flying at a low altitude. No one could have predicted that this man, who seemed like just another passenger, was planning something extraordinary. Then, in a move that still baffles investigators, Cooper jumped out of the plane mid-flight, somewhere over the dense forests of Washington state, with a parachute and a briefcase full of cash. When the plane landed and a massive search was launched, he vanished without a trace. For decades, authorities were stumped by Cooper's escape. A huge manhunt ensued, but despite the fact that a small portion of the ransom was found years later, Cooper was never found. The mystery deepened when considering the conditions in which he jumped. The weather was harsh, with heavy rain and strong winds, making survival in such a rugged area extremely unlikely. There are numerous theories that attempt to explain what happened. Some believe that Cooper had military training and could have been a former paratrooper or even a CIA agent. This theory would explain his meticulous plan to hijack the plane and escape. Many believe Cooper must have had in-depth knowledge of parachutes and how to jump from a plane under such extreme conditions. Another theory suggests that Cooper had help from someone inside the plane. Some speculate that he might have had an accomplice among the crew who assisted in planning and executing the heist. This would explain how he was able to make such a smooth getaway and remain elusive. But what if the whole thing was meticulously planned so that Cooper knew exactly how to disappear? Some believe that Cooper had a prearranged escape plan, including a safe hideout where he could go after jumping. Perhaps he had some hidden assistance or even a secret route for escape. There is also the theory that Cooper died during the jump. The weather conditions were extreme, and survival would have been very difficult. Some believe that Cooper may have failed to execute the jump properly, or couldn't survive the harsh conditions, and ultimately died. His body, however, was never found. After years of investigation, the FBI officially closed the case in 2016, but the unresolved question still lingers. How did he manage to evade capture for so long? Perhaps he survived and lived in secrecy for decades, or perhaps the entire story ended in a tragedy that was never uncovered. The mystery of D.B. Cooper remains one of the greatest unsolved crimes in American history. It's the story of a man who not only evaded the law but also became immortal in the minds of people worldwide. What is the truth? Was he a mastermind of disguise and planning, or just a lucky man who escaped an impossible situation? Whatever happened, the story of D.B. Cooper lives on as an extraordinary legend.